I hope this is working. And everyone's like throwing ice at our table because we have the best table here in Eindhoven, and everyone wants to sit with us. Hi, who are you?
Hello, I'm Alina. I'm a design consultant and trend forecaster.
Yeah, we've known each other now for a few months. Actually, we got in contact. Someone recommended you to me as being one of the most influential and interesting trend forecasters in Europe.
Oh, that's a nice and kind compliment. I mean, obviously, I have known you longer, I guess, than the other way around, Stefan. I mean, really, you are a famous person, so it's lovely to be chatting to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So Stefan set up this wonderful invitation for us where we got together, and some of us trend forecasters, we picked each other's brains, threw ideas at each other, discussed things, and I felt it was really lovely that we got together like online, and it felt like we were all sitting like with each other with a piece of cake and a cappuccino in our hand and just discussing ideas. It was great. It was.
So what we did was actually what Alina is trying to say, with my words actually. So 5 people from all over Europe. There was one from Austria, Germany. I'm including Germany with you. One from Austria, Germany. One from Italy. One from France. One from Finland, and then one from Sweden. And we're all working with trends, and we shared notes. And we're talking about 24, 25, and near future, what's happening. And the funny thing, do you know what I think? It was one of the most funny aspects of it was that 2 of the 5 said that degrowth is one of the most important trends in the future. What do you think about that?
Well, it is a funny thing in a way, because I usually try when in my work to always see things from various perspectives. And I would say that if you talk to a trend forecaster or someone working in design and consulting and focusing on sustainability from people in, I would call it this bubble, we are all talking about degrowth and slowing down, and that's how important it is. And I think we will be backed by people that care about the planet, and there will be a lot of people that will say, yes, that's the direction we're heading in. But on the other hand, I think we have to also say that there is other tendencies in the world where other businesses are very far from that, and where it's still about production going higher, faster, bigger, better. So I think these 2 things sit next to each other, and there is a market for degrowth. There's a market for people that understand that we can't go on as we used to do, and that there is business opportunities in maybe not just necessarily slowing down, but doing less but better. And then there is other parts of the market where that realization is not there yet. And I think our job as trend forecasters is to make sure that the predictions we're doing are rooted in reality and not just in what we want, but that we educate our clients and that we must change.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Of course, that's why we're so alike. But Alina, you're a new contact in my world. Where are you from and who are you?
So I'm originally from Austria. I am based in Austria again, but I have lived abroad for almost 10 years. So my background is actually in graphic and interior design. I did all sorts of things in this area, like I sold premium furniture, I did visual merchandising and so on.
That's the best way to be a trend forecaster. You know that, right? You should have
You need to have a basic understanding of what you're doing. And my education was actually quite different to a lot of people. So I studied quite late what I'm actually doing now. So I studied color design with a focus on interior design and trend predictions in interiors. And through this route, I came into trend forecasting. I worked for a trend forecasting agency called Trend Bible in the UK, where I was responsible for their home and interiors trend books, the content and the concepts and creations. I still work for them. But about 3.5 years ago or something, I went self-employed, and now I'm an independent consultant, and I work in the fields of design, color, and trend forecasting, and consult businesses on all sorts of things that they need to know about what's important in which colors, shapes, materials, patterns are going to be important moving forwards.
Are trends important? This is one of the tricky questions I get every now and then. So Alina, are trends important?
I think they are.
Why?
I think that the main issue is that a lot of people understand trends in a very wrong way. I think what trends really are for a trend forecaster is essentially very different to the understanding of what a lot of people have about trends. Like, a trend is not a fad. A trend is essentially a tendency, a larger direction in what a lot of people, or a big part of the market, or a big part of a country are moving towards. And literally everyone, no matter whether they care about trends or not, we're all affected by trends. I mean, it completely depends on if you're talking about the mega trends or macro trends or micro trends. But for instance, the mega trend, sustainability, no matter if you care about it or not, everyone is essentially affected by it. So I think it's maybe semantics when you say, do you like trends or not? But I think when you take the root of it, that a trend is just a larger tendency, then it's really important, because then it's the difference of personal taste, which is often a very wrong advisor in decisions for larger areas of brands and so on.
Do you know how I define trends?
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me, how do you define trends?
I talk about changes and also tingling sensation, because changes are like it's a necessary change, or technology can be sort of like a fostering a new way of living. Yeah. But tingling sensation means that you want to do it. You want to try this. So it's a happiness with trends. So I think that trends are positive because you want to try it, you want to do it, and there's like something new about it all the time.
I like this outlook. I think that trends can be a super positive thing. I think there has been so many like trendsetters, if you want to say that have really brought positive change. I mean, back in the day, maybe you said that was the avant-garde or something like this. You maybe called it differently. But essentially, yeah, I think trends is what we need. It's just whenever someone always sticks on like something with core, you know, like this and that trend core. But that's often a media hype. That's not what you and I would call something.
So where's your mind now? I mean, we're now in late October 2023. Where's your mind going? Where do you think the next changes are going to be?
The next changing is in which area?
I should have seen that.
So, for instance, I have just really intensely worked on concepts for home and interiors autumn winter 25-26. So I'm thinking usually about 2 years ahead.
Where are we then? Where are we 2026?
Ooh,
you don't have to go with like colors or patterns, but I mean, are living rooms still existing? Are kitchens still existing?
Living rooms and kitchens are still existing in large parts of the world. It really depends. I mean, if you are going to different parts in many countries in Asia, it's completely common to not have a kitchen because the society is shaped differently. You just eat outside a lot. But if you're talking, say, Europe or some parts of the world, like, I don't know, if say Mexico, or you're going to the US or something, kitchens and living rooms will still be around, but the way we use them, things are just going to be even more interchanged. There's even more transient living. It's going to change a lot more. It's not always voluntarily how people live. Spaces are going to be smaller. I'm sure you've talked a lot about as well the mix of like the blending of lives. There's so many more functions in our home.
Working from home.
I would say the offices are getting more homely, and home is getting more, well, it has to get more of a space where you can work in, but you also, still after the pandemic, so many people choose to do their fitness routines at home. Not everyone has gone back to the gym.
You're a color girl. How important are colors?
Well, I studied color design, so you have to be quite a nerd to...
Do you have a favorite color?
I don't actually have a favorite color, but I would say that my favorite colors are those that not only are the right ones for the function they need to fulfill, but that they also have some sort of atmosphere and support moods. Mm-hmm. I think that's often what's forgotten, that the function of color isn't just the aesthetics, but that they also work, that they navigate us through our world. I think they're vital for pretty much everyone that is able to see. I mean, we have to bear in mind that some people are visually impaired. For them, colors are maybe less important or even more important, because then stronger contrasts are important. But for the average person that is able to see, it's hugely important. Almost 90% of all buying decisions are influenced by colors. I mean, the stats are a bit different, but I think it's incredibly important, even if it's just on a subconscious level. And I've never spoken to anyone that didn't have anything to say about color. Mm-hmm. And with most jobs, that's not the case. I mean, say you are, I don't know, maybe you're working with numbers. or you are a writer, not everyone is going to talk to you about that, but everyone has something to say about colors. So I think that is an indicator of how important it is.
Time is running out. We're not done yet, but there's so many questions I want to ask. I want to ask every question I get.
I would love to ask you so many questions.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do that off camera. But we're now in Eindhoven, which is one of the design weeks in Europe here in the Netherlands. How do you work here? You're going to a design week. I mean, you're going to all the ones that I basically do, like Milan, the Paris ones, and yeah, as many as you can.
Yeah.
What do you look for when you go to Eindhoven?
So Eindhoven is different. I think the focus here in Eindhoven is really, like you mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to quote you hopefully quite well. I mean, Eindhoven is really the place where things are beginning. There is more of a platform here in Eindhoven that students really get a well-presented platform where they're supported, and so many designers we know now, that where we now read in the magazines, are people that made their, maybe not their debut, but their real first impact in Eindhoven. I mean, of course, we also have that at Salone Satellite in Milan, but Eindhoven is an even bigger space where so many graduates can show their work, or young designers. So there's a lot of innovation. I think in Eindhoven there is also more of a focus on sustainability and materials. So for me, that's really
Especially this year.
Especially this year, less color. So I'm here for more of material innovations, and I'm obviously always hoping to see things that are quite applied already. So here it's a lot. Here is a lot that's in a concept stage yet, and I'm then curious. I'm then asking, like, my head is starting to think, and how do we apply this to an actual product that we can buy in a few years' time? But I think there's just so much inspiration here.
So this show is about design and trends, as we've been talking about, but it's also about desserts. Design and dessert. So Alina, what's your favorite dessert? Are you a dessert person at all, or?
I'm a total dessert person. I think actually probably desserts are the thing where I'm most Austrian, because generally I wouldn't consider myself a super stereotypical Austrian, but my love for sweet things really is. I don't know if you know, but in Austria we're one of the few countries where it's real.
Schwarzwald cake is from the Black Forest cake, isn't that from Austria?
Potentially it is, but Schwarzwald is actually in Germany.
But that's sort of like creamy cake, regardless.
Creamy cake. So there's, we're one of the few countries where it's completely normal to eat something sweet as a main.
That's strange.
And I actually survived on this as a kid, because I was very picky in what I ate, and I loved sweet things. My mom actually called me my little...
And what's your favorite?
One of my favorites probably is Grießschmarren. That's something that no one knows, and even if you go to a restaurant in Austria you won't get it. But it's just basically semolina and something heavy, like doughy. I really love that. But and cakes.
And
cakes in Austria, yeah.
And if I would come to your house for dinner, what would you cook for a trendy person like me?
What would I cook for?
Yeah, no, not main course, but for dessert.
For dessert, I have to be honest, I'm not a very good cook. And I think the only dessert I'm really good at making is probably a fake tiramisu. That would be with berries and so on, or an apple strudel.
Yeah.
An apple strudel.
That's nice.
But it's not that trendy. Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to disappoint you.
But do you follow those French girls, Balbuste? No, Balbuste. Oh, they make wonderful dessert. Yeah, I want to interview them at some point, because they've also been working with like fashion brands like Loewe and doing like wonderful dessert cakes like that.
It's already tasty.
So where do you go from here? From our coffee lunch, where are you doing now?
So I think I want to have a look at the graduate shows, and I want to check out a few more exhibitions about in materials, I would say. So maybe Material Lab.
We have exactly 1 more minute, so 2024 is coming up. If one should look for one thing in your home, what should one add 2024? I mean, you're working on several levels, several years, but 2024?
For 2024, one thing I would really look at is maybe something that makes temporary living a bit more comfortable. So we are all going to have more guests, and maybe a little something, maybe if it's just a room divider, or maybe it's just something you can hang up on a wall that actually dampens the acoustic a little bit, but something that's more temporary that you can bring with you again if you move, and that makes your life when you have guests a bit more comfortable.
You know what I would add? I will tell you all to get a record player, because I think that home parties are the next big thing, 2024.